Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Tonight, we are going deep, deep into the darkness. We're talking about the kinds of places where the trees themselves seem to whisper secrets, where every shadow could be hiding something sinister, where the very air feels heavy with dread. We're talking, of course, about the woods, and as you know if you've been following me for any length of time, the woods are never just the woods. They're a breeding ground for mystery, a haven for horror, and sometimes, a graveyard. Tonight, we're counting down 5 disturbing true stories that happened in the woods. Stories that will make you think twice before you ever set foot in the wilderness again. Picture this. It's February 1959, the dead of winter in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. A group of 9 experienced hikers, young and full of life, set off on an adventure into the unforgiving wilderness. They're led by Igor Dyatlov, a seasoned outdoorsman, and their spirits are high as they make their way deeper and deeper into the mountains. But something goes terribly wrong, something unexplainable, something that will haunt this desolate stretch of wilderness for decades to come. Days turn into weeks and there's no sign of the hikers. Search parties are sent out, fearing the worst, and then they stumble upon a scene that defies all logic and reason. The hiker's tent is ripped open from the inside as if they fled in a blind panic. Scattered around the campsite are their belongings, along with footprints in the snow. Footprints that lead away from the safety of the tent, deeper into the frozen wasteland. And the bodies, oh God, the bodies. Some are found partially clothed as if they ran out of their tents in a mad dash, leaving their winter gear behind. Others have horrific injuries, broken bones, crushed skulls, even radiation burns. The official explanation at the time? They died from a compelling natural force. But that explanation doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the mystery surrounding the Dyatlov Pass incident. To this day, questions linger, theories abound. Was it an avalanche, hypothermia, or something far more sinister and unknown? Our next story takes us to the Plumas National Forest in California, 1978. 5 friends, Gary Mathias, Jack Hewitt, Ted Wire, Bill Sterling, and Jack Madruga, pile into their cars for a basketball game. These are young men with families, with futures ahead of them. They never make it to the game. In fact, they're never seen alive again. Their abandoned cars are discovered days later, parked haphazardly along a remote mountain road. One car has its engine running, the heater blasting hot air into the frigid winter night. Inside, investigators find snacks, a crumpled map, and no sign of a struggle. It's as if the men vanished into thin air. Weeks turn into months, and the mystery of the Yuba County 5 deepens. Then, a horrifying discovery. The body of Gary Mathias is found in a shallow grave miles from the abandoned vehicles. His cause of death? Starvation and exposure. But here's the chilling part. Gary was severely mentally disabled and required 24-hour care. He couldn't have survived alone in the wilderness for that long. So what happened? Where are the other 4 men? And why did they abandon their vehicles in such a remote location? The answers, like the whispers of the wind through the pines, remain elusive. Our journey into the dark heart of the woods now takes us to 1922, to a secluded farmstead called Hinterkaifeck in Bavaria, Germany. This is a place where time seems to stand still, where the silence is broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant sound of farm animals. But on a cold March night, that silence is shattered by an unspeakable act of violence. 6 people, Andreas Gruber, his wife Kazilia, their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, her 2 young children, Kazilia and Joseph, and the family maid, Maria Baumgartner, are brutally murdered inside their home. They're killed with a pickaxe, one by one. The killer then stays on the farm for days, tending to the animals, eating their food, even sleeping in their beds. It's a scene straight out of a nightmare, made all the more terrifying by the fact that it actually happened. Despite a thorough investigation, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved to this day. Who was this cold-blooded killer? What drove them to commit such a heinous act? And why did they linger at the crime scene for so long? The answers, like the ghosts that are said to haunt the now abandoned farmstead, remain shrouded in mystery. Our next stop is the Bennington Triangle, a remote and rugged area in southwestern Vermont. Some call it a vortex, others a portal. But whatever you call it, one thing is for sure, the woods here hold a dark and unsettling power. Between 1945 and 1950, a series of strange and unexplained disappearances plagued this region, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and shattered lives. One of the most baffling cases is that of Paula Jean Weldon, an 18-year-old college student who vanished while hiking the Long Trail in 1946. She was last seen by a hiker heading up Glastonbury Mountain, a place steeped in local lore and whispered tales of strange lights and unexplained phenomena. Despite an extensive search, no trace of Paula was ever found. She simply vanished, swallowed whole by the dense wilderness. But Paula wasn't the only one. Over the next few years, several other people disappeared from the Bennington Triangle under equally mysterious circumstances. A seasoned hunter vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single spent cartridge in his rifle. A young boy disappeared from the back of his grandfather's truck, never to be seen again. And then there's the case of Frida Langer, a middle-aged woman who vanished while hiking with a group of friends. Her body was found weeks later, miles from where she disappeared, but the cause of death remains a mystery. Were these disappearances the result of foul play, natural causes, or something far more sinister, lurking in the shadows of the Bennington Triangle? Our final story tonight delves into the chilling world of David Paulides and his missing 411 cases. Paulides, a former police officer turned author and researcher, has dedicated his life to investigating the strange and unexplained disappearances of people from national parks and forests across North America. These aren't your typical missing persons cases. These are cases with bizarre and unsettling details that defy logical explanation. Take, for instance, the case of Dior Coons Jr., a 2-year-old boy who vanished from his campsite in Idaho in 2015. Despite an extensive search involving hundreds of volunteers and law enforcement officers, no trace of Dior was ever found. Theories abound, ranging from abduction to animal attack, but the truth remains elusive. Then there's the case of Dennis Martin, a 6-year-old boy who disappeared from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in 1969. Dennis was last seen by his family playing near a stream with other children. When the other children returned, Dennis was gone. Despite a massive search effort, no sign of Dennis was ever found. His disappearance, like so many others in Paulides' files, remains a haunting mystery. What makes these cases so unsettling is the sheer number of them, and the eerie similarities they share. Many of the missing vanish without a trace, leaving behind no clues and no logical explanation. Some are found alive, miles from where they disappeared, with no memory of what happened to them. And others, well, their fates remain unknown, lost to the vast and unforgiving wilderness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling stories. The woods, as we've seen tonight, can be a place of both beauty and terror. They hold secrets, ancient and unknowable. They whisper tales of the lost and the forgotten, and sometimes they claim those who dare to venture too deep into their embrace. Let us know in the comments which story you found the most disturbing. And the next time you find yourself walking through the woods, remember the stories we've shared tonight. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the trees.